What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is almost said Friday. It is Thursday, July 4th, 2024, and we are back with another evening stream here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure to hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Shout out to all of the members here on the channel. Shout out to all of the people over there on Patreon, Discord, Twitter, X, Instagram, everyone who sends me stories. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And as y'all can see by the title, we are doing a very interesting stream tonight, a very more laid back stream, not as heavy hitting, of course, with the topics that I usually do, but I am definitely not alone this evening. I have some very special guests on here with me this evening. But before I bring each and every one of them up, let me go ahead and acknowledge everyone who is here so far in the chat. We got Craig Colson, Jacob Bowser, Reparations Nations, Kid Gravity Beyond, Kendall, Chris Vesey, Barbara Johnson, Terrence Jackson, Tamika. Ironically, shout out to Tamika because she's going to be up here soon. Trenches Politics TV, Trey 979. Brother Man to you, Muchi. Muchi. I'm laughing because the people that I'm laughing at are actually going to be up here speaking with me tonight. You got Candy Loves Talks TV, Bills Fan 1970, Bianca March, MoedotJ. Might as well go ahead and round it out. Jacoby, Carla, Donna, Sally, and Freedom Queen 00. And shout out to everybody that is here from my guest channel. I allowed them to be able to stream tonight from their channels as well. That way we can all be here as one big happy family to talk about this show. And the show we will be discussing is called Supacell. Some of you may or may not have heard about it, but it is a show that just premiered on Netflix about a week ago, about a little bit over a week ago, and the show is very phenomenal. But before we get into all of that good stuff, I'm going to go ahead now and introduce my guest. The first person I'm bringing up to the stage is an individual who I refer to as my auntie. Well, one of them. It's an inside story. Don't worry about it. But this is a person that I have a lot of respect for. She's definitely doing her thing with her channel. And by the way, all of my guest channels are linked down in the description below. Please be sure to go ahead and hit their subscribe button so you can go ahead and support them as well. But shout out to, again, the person who I have a lot of respect for, brings a lot of energy. She's all over the place with a lot of the commentary that she does, but then again, all of them are. But without further ado, let me go ahead and bring Auntie Muchi to the stage. What's going on?
I got an introduction for a queen. An introduction for a queen. I'm honored. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and Muchi has been on my channel. She has been in the chat before. She has come up and spoke a couple of times when it comes to certain topics that I do discuss. But I'm glad I have her up here for a longer period of time to discuss this series, well, this season, because I truly believe that this definitely should go beyond a one season. But we'll get into all of that. The next person I'm about to bring up to the stage is another individual, another woman. And shout out to the TVC again. The Television Commission. Shout out to Brillo, the Big Review, for coming up with that. But this is another individual who definitely is a person who subscribes and supports the channel every chance she gets. She's been up here before as well. She's like Muchi as well. Talks about various different television shows and movies. She's had me on her panel before. I think I might be up there again this coming Saturday. And I'm glad to have her up here to discuss the show with you all this evening. Without further ado, Tamika's Den, what's going on?
Hey, everybody.
Glad you are here. And the last person that we're bringing up, I feel almost needs no introduction. Some of you may or may not be familiar with him, but if you are not familiar with him, you will definitely be familiar with him after this evening. This individual, I came across his channel just on random. I guess it just popped up in my recommendeds maybe a couple years ago. And I hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and I haven't hit that unsubscribe since. And this person is on their way to 50,000 subscribers. So y'all definitely need to hit that subscribe button because we're trying to get this man here to 50K before the end of the summer. And I definitely think that it can be done. All the way across the pond by way of Missouri, we got MoedotJ.
Hey, what's going on? I ain't know you contemplating unsubscribing, man. I ain't know that side of the story.
No, listen,
that.
I did not say I did not say I was going to unsubscribe. I just said I haven't hit the unsubscribe button. You haven't given me a reason to unsubscribe. But I'm glad that each and every one of you are here because we are here to discuss this show tonight. And like I was telling Tamika, when we did what to watch for the month of June, I told her before we went to the next show or movie, whatever we was talking about, I said, Tamika, we are reviewing this show. We're going to collab and we're going to review the show. And here we are today. And we ended up having, getting 2 additional people to talk about this show with us. But before I go ahead and get into everything, first off, let me bring my slides up. Yes, I finally worked these damn slides. I finally found a way to work these slides. But before we actually get into every single thing, the first thing I want to ask each and every one of you because I'm going to ask this question now and then I'm going to ask another question at the end. Before going into this series, and I'll start with you, Muchi. Before going into this series, and when you maybe watched the trailer for like the very first trailer, was this something that jumped out at you and you said, okay, I'm definitely going to watch this?
Definitely. It jumped out. I usually take a night out where I just look at trailers. Mm-hmm. And this was how I'm compiling a watch list. So that's what I usually do. And I think me and Tamika talked about this backstage too one night, but yeah, so this was definitely one that caught my eye from the get-go.
Right, definitely. All right, Tamika, same question for you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, black, first of all, I'm always going to bet on black. I'm going to rock with black, blackity, black. So they already had me. Then I said, okay, we got superpowers. Mm-hmm. I remember talking to a few people about it, sharing the trailer. And then I was like, I forgot about it. So when we was doing the What You Should Be Watching, it came back up. I was like, they ain't really promoting this. What's going on?
You know why they not?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, Mo, I really got to ask you this one. I'm afraid this question is slightly different for you because I know you are not the biggest fan of superhero content. So I want to know what made you watch this because this is like outside of the realm for you. You don't usually dabble in the superhero stuff. So this one had to really catch your attention for you to be locked in.
I mean, I seen the trailer, but what really got me was Eric. So I never seen him before, Andre. So I never seen him before until I watched BMF, and I was like, man, he can act. So once I seen him on there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it. And plus, I love the UK, so I always go to London at least 3 times a year. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and watch this. But I'm glad I did though.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this show, not that I gauge it off of Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that, but they said this show got a perfect 100 on both the critics and the audience side. That is very rare to get. Usually it's going to be, the numbers are going to be high on one side or low on the other, or maybe about even. But they said this got 100 on both sides. They said everybody loves this show. It only had 6 episodes the first season, I think, because that's more of a test run to see how it would work. And that way they don't have to dip too far into the budget. But I would honestly say that after seeing this first season, I was left wanting more. I think that was the only downside I had, was that it was a short season. But you know what? I was locked in after being a third into the first episode.
I mean, but they're promoting it. They're promoting it a lot overseas because it's a UK film. But Rapman is real big, and this is his first time directing something like this, and he actually wrote it. So Rapman is real big over in London. And I mean, yeah, it was a test, but they're really promoting it more overseas than they are to the American audience.
Wow.
Right. Well, I think after this, I think it's safe to say that they're going to definitely have a big following. And I have a feeling that they come back for season 2, throw a higher budget at them. I mean, they did what they did with this one, but I think they can throw them more money to really ramp it up for another season, especially with how it ended. But for those of y'all who are unaware, the show Supacell is about these 5 individuals. They actually are right here on the screen. They're in part of the slides, who basically find out that they ended up developing superpowers, but they have no idea how they ended up developing them. They just kind of came on spur of the moment, but they had no idea. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of figured out how they got it somewhere in the first episode when the character Michael went to go visit his mother and she said she had sickle cell. And I said, I wonder if that has something to do with why they have the powers, because they also mentioned that he had the trait. And then they started slowly trickling in that's probably what it was for the other characters. I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. And I thought it was dope that they did it with an all-black cast, because sickle cell anemia is very high amongst Black people. I actually have the trait. I actually found out I had the trait when I went and got my last physical, and I got it from my dad's side. And usually sickle cell anemia or the trait literally is something that passes on. It's hereditary.
Yeah, that part got me, because when you hear the synopsis, all it tells you is all they have in common is being Black, but it's actually more than that. You know, they're very vague, which I like that they was vague with like the synopsis. They was vague with the trailer. They didn't show you too much. I kind of don't like when they do that. So when they do the sickle cell, and for those that don't know, I recently went off on another daggone show that brought sickle cell, and it's funny because there's 3 shows that recently spoke about sickle cell. On the one hand, I gave them credit because I was like, you don't hear that on TV shows too much, unless maybe it's a medical show they may mention it. But anyway, nonetheless, I like the way they did it in here, because I have the trait too. All my siblings have the trait, and my sister has the disease, so I get a little biased sometimes when it comes to that. So I was like, wait a minute, let me see how y'all go on, run this one. But I liked how they did it.
Hey, Tamika, one day who knows, we're gonna wake up and our eyes gonna be glowing. Well, you said you have no powers, you don't got the trait.
Yeah, I don't have a trait, but shit, I wish I did though.
Yeah, but okay, so now that I gave you the synopsis, now what we're going to do is we're going to just go run down between every individual character. We're going to start with the core cast first, and then we're going to go into the supporting cast. And it's 5 main characters and like a slew of supporting characters, but each of them play a significant part. So the first person we're going to start with is Michael. Michael is like the main, I guess you can say, central hub of the team. And to give you a little bit of background on Michael, Michael basically works for this package delivering company that basically is an off-brand Amazon. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's basically like an Amazon. And he lives with his girlfriend turned fiance named Dion. And one day something just happens and his eyes begin to glow. Basically what happened is he went into a neighborhood to deliver a package and he gets attacked by this gang and he ends up dying. But then something happens where he's able to go back in time and reverse what happens and come back to life. And what's interesting about his powers is he's one of the few in the group that has multiple abilities, because Michael is able to go back in time, he's able to go into the future, and he's able to teleport. So that's why I say he probably has the most unique power, which means by default, I would believe that would make him like the leader of the group. So what do y'all got to say or add in about the Michael character? And we can talk about some other significant parts about him as well.
Mike can also freeze time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a fourth one. I forgot he can freeze time.
He could freeze time. He could teleport.
Mm-hmm. Go back in time, go into the future.
Mm-hmm. I like Michael's character because soon as he got a little gist of his powers and his mission, he was really trying to prevent things from happening. Yeah. This actor, Tosin Cole, he was in a show that Tamika and I covered before, 61st Street. So I'm familiar with him, but I did not know he was from London because he was in a show with Courtney Vance where and he was based out of Chicago, so I had no idea. So now when I seen him with the accent, I was just I didn't know he was from London. But it starts off great with him as a character. He seems like a very strong character in this, and I liked him.
Yeah, and I like that his mission is to prevent his fiance from dying. Like that's literally his goal. And the thing is, we've seen that happen in other series. I don't know if any of y'all seen the show What If, but the first season of What If. But with Doctor Strange's storyline, he's able, of course, the mystic arts and everything like that, and he keeps trying to prevent his fiance Christine from dying. This man literally went through so many scenarios, and every last one of them she died, and it was driving him insane, like to the point where he became dark strange, like he became evil strange. It literally drove him to madness, and that's literally the mission that Michael has right here. But he knows he can't do it alone, so he has to try to, he ends up seeking out other people. Want to know what this also reminded me of? The movie Crash. Because notice how they kept walking past each other or crossing paths or bumping into each other, just like in the movie Crash. That's what that kind of reminded me of. Is I don't know if y'all peeped that as well.
Yeah, like when Andre ran into Sabrina after she was
yeah.
And then Rod knew everybody because he kept trying to sell to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish they would have told us a little earlier, though, because you've seen everybody when they were first starting using their powers, they were draining out quick. But once they all get together, they're stronger. So I wonder if that makes them have longer powers.
It definitely makes them stronger.
Yeah.
Because you go ahead, Muchi.
Oh, I'm sorry. He did say that when that's why it was so important for him to link with all of them, because they could stop whoever was coming at them, the black hoods that was coming at them, if they all band together. That's why he had to. That's why it was so important for him to connect with those people. And actually, when they connected the first time, that actually activated their powers as well. Mm-hmm. If it's somebody that already has powers and you're near them, you get your powers. Mm-hmm. Like if you didn't know that you had them.
And this is all the more reason why I said this show needs to continue going on, because the fact that Michael was able to go into the future. Now, we don't know how far in the future he went, but he had to go pretty far because of how they looked and where they were at. It looked like they were in a post-apocalyptic world where it wasn't that many people alive. Like, you saw like destroyed cars. There was no one around. You saw the portal open up, and you saw Sabrina flying, which she has not done in present day yet. So we know that's coming. And so that's why I said they showing us that y'all got to keep it going at this point, because I'm waiting to see what that's going to be like.
I know Freedom said if they have a healer, the girl Jasmine's the healer. The girl Jasmine that they got in Ashton Estate, she's the healer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they keeping her close. This reminded me of a couple different things, like just hearing the synopsis and hearing that it's 5 people. They don't know each other, but y'all all got to stay together. We can't lose one of y'all in order to save the girl. It was a show years ago that came on called Heroes, where they had supposed to be saved the cheerleader. I was like, okay, is this the black version of that? And it kind of was giving me that vibe. I also thought about What If, and then I said, well, maybe this is giving a little bit of if Top Boy met X-Men. I don't know how many people.
I definitely got X-Men vibes, especially with the abilities, because I was like, I'm looking at some of the people. I was like, okay, this man can teleport, so he's like Nightcrawler. He can stop time, so he's like Professor X. He can go back in time, like a few other people, like Bishop and stuff like that. So he's a time traveler, he's a teleporter, and he can stop time. And shout out to Vampire Hunter Greg, because he just said the same exact thing you just said, Tamika, about this reminds you of a black version of Heroes. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I used to love that show.
Yeah, I heard of Heroes, but I never watched an episode.
With Crazy is crazy. If he touches you, he can get your powers, right?
Yes.
Because remember, he told Rod, "I can't wait to use that." And then once Rod grabbed him, I was just making sure that.
Yeah, that was bugged out too.
And basically, speaking of X-Men, that's like Rogue, because what if you touch you and absorb in power absorption.
Right.
So I see where they got it from. I see where they pulled from, but they made it their own.
I was going to ask about Rodney, because if he could heal himself, I don't think he knows he could heal others yet, because he just found out that he could heal himself.
I think he can
think he can.
I think he can. I agree with Mo. I think he can probably only heal himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think he can,
because we haven't seen him. I don't think he knows how they don't know how to use their powers yet.
Yeah, they was just learning. That would be interesting.
Because I was thinking when the I don't want to put my track shoes on, so I'll wait till we get there. I'm sorry.
Speaking of track shoe, interesting. I see what you did there. All right, do y'all got anything else left for Michael? We can go on to the next character.
I mean, overall, I'll say this: for Mike to have all those powers and have to try to bring everyone together, man, that'd have been tough. Because if I was Michael, we would have never linked up. Because trying to get everybody, and then they talking about they don't want to come over, and Sabrina and her sister got stuff going on. It was just too much. I would have been like, oh well, we ain't.
He had a lot on his plate.
Yeah, he
had
definitely
a lot of,
did.
like I said, like Mike was literally the glue that had to hold them together, and without him, they would literally fall apart.
Yeah, Taser was doing the most.
Yeah, I think they did like good character development with him. Definitely was feeling for him, and I do think he's the most powerful. You know, out of all of them.
Yeah.
I just had to tell y'all, Tamika, Muchi, July 9th, get your outfits together. Going to a funeral.
Wow. Okay, let's go on to the next character. Taser. Now, I think Taser has become like a fan favorite of a lot of people. Like a lot of people I've seen talk about this show have always brought up his character. Now, Taser is a gang member. He's a member of a gang. I found it interesting that their colors was red and blue, like the Bloods and Crips. But he's a member of a gang. He lives with his elderly grandmother because he doesn't know where his mother is. We know, or we find out where his mother is, but we didn't know it was her.
Right.
In the opening sequence, we didn't know it was her. And he basically, I think Taser probably had his powers early on because Taser was the only one that could go in and out of his ability without seeming like he was struggling to do it. Like it was like nothing. Like he could just activate his powers like it was nothing. But Taser, he basically has the ability to become invisible. He can turn invisible, and everything around him can be invisible. So if he's holding on to an object, you can't see it. Like, and I like that they did that because it makes him stealthy. Because in some instances, when someone's invisible, it'll just turn their body invisible, but you can see their clothes. But with him, it's his clothes. If he's like with him, his weapon of choice is a knife. If he's holding the knife goes invisible as well, and you don't even see it until he uses it on somebody or something, in a physical sense. So that's the Taser character. Taser's like the wild card of the group. But I say he's definitely going to be, he's very useful once you actually like calm him down because he's just out there. But he knows that he has to be strong for his team. Like he can't show any form of weakness.
Yeah, he was kind of like in and out for me in the beginning, but going to the middle to the end, I was more like, okay. There was a couple times he was getting on my nerves.
Yeah, he was a handful.
Yeah,
he was.
I was like in Taser's story from the beginning.
I kind of think as a Taser, like a Taser's like a rebel.
I did like him. Don't get me wrong. That when they was gonna jump him.
Yeah.
I like Taser's story. The least story that I like was Rodney's. I mean, I like Rodney's character, but
me too. I thought he was the weakest.
Yeah. How did I know everyone was going to how did I know everyone was going to say that? But you know what? When we get to Rodney, I can understand why people feel that way, but I can also see why he is the way that he is once we got a little bit more into his story. One thing that got me with not so much Taser, but that scene right there where he had to fight that dude and he thought he was going to whoop his ass and Taser like literally beat the shit out of him. And and Crazy told him to stop, like he shot the gun up and he told him to stop. I said, okay, the way that they're filming this right now, something is about to happen. And sure enough, it did. He ended up popping that boy in the back.
Tiny.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So
it's like I saw it coming. He popped him right. All because Crazy's goon lost the fight.
I thought that was cool though, how they did that. I didn't want to see Tiny get shot, but I did. I like how they did that, so it could build up the, the rivalry between him and Crazy.
Yeah, and I really thought, I was like, damn. I said they gonna kill Tiny, but I was like, thank God they went to the hospital. He at the time he was in a coma, but then when they went back, he was out the coma and he was alive, and I was like, thank God. I was glad that they didn't take him up, but I said now we see where our antagonist is. We see it right there. That's the main antagonist right there. Of course, we didn't know what was to come with that character, but we're gonna wait until we get to that character to talk about him. Yeah, but I like the Taser character. As crazy as he is, we understand why he is the way that he is. He doesn't know about his mom. As far as he knows, his mom just left. He doesn't know where she's at. Unfortunately, he doesn't know she's dead either because, she tried to escape and they shot her and they killed her. So wait till he finds out about that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wrap.
But you sure we know that for sure? Do you think they used the healer?
Oh, I think she's gone because I think if they wanted to use the healer to bring her back, they would have did it. Like you saw them,
we just seen them dragging her down and then cutting her open. So
cutting her open and getting the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think she's gone, unfortunately.
I mean, once they do if they have another season, cause I think they're gonna go forward in time, and then they probably jump back before all of this, so they could save everybody. Because even Spud's in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Tiny's in the hospital. So there's a lot of people that need to be healed.
Yeah, and also too, I was so glad. Now, let me just give this disclaimer. I am not for DV. I'm not for DV. However, that girl at the party who made that call, when Taser met up with her again and they found out it was her that made that call that kicked all of this off, and Taser put them paws on her, I was like, he didn't hold back. They were trying to talk to her. Taser was like, F that. He squeezed past all of them and said, bump, and went and literally had her leaking.
She got him poked up.
Yeah.
She got him poked up. I'm sorry. I know what you're saying, but she had what was coming to her. She set this whole thing off.
She really did.
And I wasn't mad, but did you see how his homeboy was looking? He was sorry he opened his mouth that he spotted her too after.
Yeah.
He was sorry he opened his mouth.
Like I said, when that happened right there, I'm not even gonna lie. When I was looking at it after I calmed down a little bit, I leaned back and was like, what do you want me to say?
But
that's
I mean,
literally
she was
how I was
repping the game too, though. Remember, she was like Sixers or whatever it was. So it was like,
yeah.
And she still was talking junk when they walked up to her.
Yeah, she was like, "Y'all couldn't touch me." So that's why I didn't feel sorry for her, because she was like, "All right, I'm a queen and I'm part of this and that too. So you can't, she was really acting like she couldn't get touched. And he put paws all over her.
He put paws, claws, all of that.
Hands and feet.
Taser's crew fit in good too. I liked all the characters they had around Taser too. That was good.
I like the characters too. They had me cracking up. Some of them had me dying with some of the stuff that they were saying. I don't know what it is. I guess it's because of the accent and how they enunciate the words that makes it funny. It's supposed to be serious, but it's funny to me because of the stuff that they say. Like when they get real serious, I be laughing because it's like you're trying to understand what they're saying sometimes, especially when they get mad. But even like the slang, even some of the slang be cracking me up.
I had to put my subtitles on.
That's how it is in real life.
I did
go
too.
over there, you talk to them and you don't understand what the hell they talk about. You just like, okay, cool. Now in the UK, like when they said grab the knife, having a knife is like having a gun that isn't registered. So you go to jail for having a knife in the UK.
Yeah, and I know, and I like that they actually emphasized on that in the show, because in the UK, even the police aren't even allowed to carry guns.
Right.
So I like that they emphasized that the knife is the go-to weapon for them. Like over here in the States, the gun is the go-to weapon. So I like that they kept it authentic in that, because Crazy was the only one, I believe, who had a gun.
What's the name? Braggs with the braids, he had a gun too. Because remember, he put it on Andre.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was Taser. Let's go on to the next character, Rodney. We were just talking about Rodney. Okay. So Rodney, he's the speedster. And let me just say, they did a good job with the speed ability on here, because sometimes they get that wrong, even on big movies, The Flash. But I like that they did that on here. So that's basically his ability. Of course, in the future, it looks like he has lightning powers because he has like lightning. If you can see it right here, that's actually him in the future, and he has lightning on his neck. So and the thing is, when you looked at him running, he had the lightning coming behind him, almost like Sonic. That's what it kind of reminded me of, with Sonic, and he was going fast. Remember because he activated his powers when he was trying to catch the bus, and he ran all the way from London to Scotland in like 10 seconds. When he got there, he saw that old woman pushing that car. He was like, "Excuse me, man, where?" He was like, "Where am I?" She says, "What do you think you are?" He was like, "I don't know." He said, "You're in Scotland." And he was like, "Oh." He was like, what? He was like, I ran from London to Scotland in like less than 10 seconds. Now, I don't know what the distance is between Scotland and London, but I know you can't get there in 10 seconds by driving or flying.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he was having a hard time trying to get back. he definitely was not my, like, at the top of my list as far as characters, but I like this overall. I think they did a good job with their storytelling, the character development. I feel like they started giving him more or showing us more towards the end that made it make sense for me. But in that beginning parts, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, he's out here trying to get his weed off. Now he he got this feed is like 5 minutes or less for your delivery.
Yeah, and that's basically what he is. He's a drug dealer. So the first time we see him, the first time we see him, he's trying to buy this weed, and everyone. It's funny because everyone around him is like, "I'm not trying to buy that mid."
Nobody wanted to buy nothing.
Nobody wanted to buy nothing from him, and I'm guessing, with it being in present day, I don't know what the marijuana laws is over there, if they're legal or not. But if that's the case, that's probably why they don't want to buy it from him. Like they was like, I can just go to a dispensary and get the good stuff, than having to buy it from you and not know. Who you are. You might put something in it. So that's basically Rodney's character. He's trying to sell this weed, but then his character takes a pivot when he goes to see his mother. Yeah. Now when we get there, he goes to see his mother. I forgot what episode. I think it was the Rodney episode. He goes to see his mother. Now we can look at Rodney. Rodney is of mixed ethnicity. He has a black dad and a white mother. He's a product of interracial relationship. And when he goes there, I noticed the camera had panned to a portrait, and in the portrait was his mom, 2 little girls, and this white man who was, I guess, his mother's husband. And the 2 little white girls there, and I'm sitting there right then. I'm like, Rodney's not in the picture, and it doesn't look like she has any pictures up of Rodney there. It's almost like he doesn't exist. And when he's sitting there talking to his mom, and she says that her husband's not going to like you, like if he comes home and sees you, he's not going to like it. And I was like, oh, now I get it. She married one of those guys. And she basically discarded her own son to be with this man. I don't know if it was for a come up or whatever the case may be, but she basically acts like Rodney isn't even her son.
Yep. Wanted him to move out and everything. He lived in, she wanted him and off on his own in a flat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep their terms apart.
Flat in the yard.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I said, okay, now it all makes sense. Now we see why Rodney is pretty much out there hustling, because he doesn't have the support from his mom, who looks like she's living pretty damn good. I mean, we saw the house. We saw the outside of the house. She was living large. Okay. We saw the outside of the house and we saw the inside of the house. And I said, wow. So now we understand why he's out there hustling. But like somebody said in the chat, they said they feel like Rodney's one of the only characters that fully embraces his powers. Like you can tell he's really enjoying it, but he's still underdeveloped, very underdeveloped. And he looks like he's probably the youngest of the crew, because he still has a childlike teenage mentality, even though he's clearly in his 20s. But he still has, he's mentally, he's still not all the way there. Like I always say, age doesn't find maturity, and that's Rodney to a T. But I think that, of course, as time goes on, by the time we get to where this picture is, he gonna be a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, definitely. If it's coming out of his veins in his neck like that,
they gotta give him power. Like they gotta give him lightning or something. Cause just having speed ain't gonna be enough to do.
Like I said, if you go back and look at episode 1 when they go to the future, you can see
when they was in the future,
you can see the lightning. You can see the lightning coming out of his body, and you can see it right there in his neck. So he definitely is going to have that lightning ability for sure. And of course, the other one, like we mentioned before, is he can heal himself.
That's why I'm thinking he probably could heal other people too. If he got the lightning and all of this now, I'm telling you, he probably could heal people. That's probably why he was telling him we all got to stay together.
Exactly.
I'm just telling you, he gonna be.
Yeah, we don't know what other powers they gonna have, because they definitely look like they were stronger and doing more things in the future. And when Michael even bumps into Sabrina in the current time, he's like, you fly, and she like, no, but he saw her flying, so he knows that it's gonna be other things that they could do.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows what they can do, but of course they don't, because they can't go into the future. So they won't know. That's why they have to stick together, and definitely have Michael there when they're together. Like, it's almost one of the things where they always have to be together until they develop their powers, where they can maybe do stuff kind of branched off, but still come together. Like, like forming like Voltron. I think that's the best way to put it. And you're right, Kendall. I forgot Taser is the youngest of the group, but Rodney's mentality makes him seem like he's the youngest.
Yeah, Taser is the youngest. And that was another thing I liked, because they're all different ages, different backgrounds, different things going on. And it hits them all at different times, because we also had a missing little girl, and it's like, I think her father said it happened to her when she was a baby. So we don't know what's going to be the thing to bring the powers up for them. It's just like mad random. Exactly. In the middle of nowhere, you just getting these powers, and like, what the hell is going on? It also kind of, not the story itself, but just the aspect of the government being involved, not caring that we got missing Black people that's just turning up missing. That part kind of remind me of they clone Tyrone.
Yes.
Experimenting.
Yeah. Especially when they go into and they find that base. The base is always in some unknown place that's not on the map. You can't find it on the satellite. It's always underground somewhere.
They show you stuff. They have to show you stuff that if it's real. This is my conspiracy hat that came on just now. They can't keep it a secret.
You put on your tinfoil do-rag right quick.
Look, allegedly.
But that stuff, I mean, listen, it ain't too far-fetched. All that stuff with the government, the medicine, the medical field, like how they were showing with the sickle cell, the nursing. I connected the most with Sabrina, with her working in the hospital and trying to get a promotion. I know we ain't get there yet, but I was like, girl, been there, did that. Like, so me and her was here.
Right. All right. So let's go on to the next character, Sabrina. All right. So you spoke her up, and ironically, she's in the. I love this scene right here. But Sabrina. She works in a hospital. Isn't she an RN, a registered nurse? Isn't that what she is?
Yes.
She's an RN. She lives with her sister. We're going to talk about her sister a little bit later. And her powers is she has telekinesis, which reminds me, of course, of Jean Grey from X-Men, except Sabrina's not going to pass out every time she uses them like Jean Grey. But I like her because she definitely is a very strong character. Telekinesis, having telekinetic abilities, is a very strong ability to have, to be able to move things with your mind. Like I said, I really like this scene right here because she got into like a little verbal conflict with that old man sitting on the bed, and he was basically berating her to the other nurse, and they were trying to tell her, no, Sabrina's a very good nurse. And then Sabrina, she got mad and she slammed the cup on the table, and it caused all the stuff around her to fall. It even caused the lights to flicker. And then she walked out of there, went into the storage closet, sat on the floor, and the equipment just started to raise up and just fall. So it shows you right there, even with her, that their powers come from like heightened stress or emotion, like an emotional outburst. And she could have literally flung everyone across that room if she wanted to. But even in that moment, she had a little bit of control, but she just didn't know it.
Well, she already did it by then. With this, did you see how she fling that boyfriend that was doing all that?
Well, he had that coming.
He deserved it, y'all. I was like, yeah.
So we can talk about that part when Sabrina goes over to confront her boyfriend, and then she opens up the door. Well, I like how they did that. That was slick. So her and her sister, whose name is Charlene, went over to the boyfriend's apartment, and they kind of stake out a little bit, and they see that somebody comes up with their Uber Eats is. I don't know if it's called Uber Eats over there. And they go ahead and they take the bag and pretend that it's them that lives there. And they knock on the door, and on the other side of the door is the side chick, to the boyfriend, quote unquote. Then Sabrina sees the boyfriend comes to the door, and then they have exchanged words. Charlene goes back to the car. Then Sabrina leaves and the boyfriend tries to chase after her and she turns right around and force pushes him into the door to the point where didn't the door crack like or something like that, or did it break? Something.
Yeah, I think it cracked. He hit that pretty hard. And I mean, she didn't know she had the power to do that. He just, it was just a reflex, but it was just like, oh shoot. And her sister over here thinking she hit him with something. It's like, no, I didn't even touch him.
Hey, the sister always knows we got to go before the police get here. She never stuck around for the police.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a moment right there that Sabrina had, and like I said, of course, with the hospital. And what I like too is that she's working hard because she's trying to get this promotion, and I like that she's well respected in that hospital, especially since she's seemingly one of the only Black people working in that hospital, at least from what we've seen. And she has a lot of respect from not only her coworkers but from the patients. And she's doing all of this stuff, and then something happens, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, she's not going to get the promotion, and she possibly can get fired. None of that happens. She ends up keeping her job, and she gets the promotion to like senior nurse. So I'm like, I was happy. I was real happy. I was real happy when that happened.
Yeah.
I was glad
really
that
happy that happened
because I was glad because the cliche thing would have been to fire her.
Right.
But I'm glad that that did not happen.
She almost killed that old lady though.
Oh yeah, she did.
Thank God she caught herself. I forgot about that.
she almost gave her an overdose.
Yeah.
But like I said, she was going through some stuff like, so she didn't know what her abilities were, and that's what ended up happening. But thankfully she caught herself before she injected it. Y'all got anything else left for Sabrina?
The relationship with her and her sister.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that her and her sister have that relationship. And it's like, it's like the typical type of relationships that you would see a lot of sisters have. And I like that they stayed together because, their parents are no longer alive. So I'm glad that they found a way to, live together, because her sister, as out there as she is very educated. Like she's writing a whole dissertation. So she's going for some kind of post-grad program degree. So we're going to get more into that because we're going to talk about Charlene a little bit later because like I said, we're going to talk about the supporting characters too. Y'all got anything else?
No, just how they interacted with everybody. Because remember, Mike showed up to the house at the beginning of the episode and dropped off the package. Charlene was trying to talk to him, so I like how everybody all the story just kept.
Exactly. That's why I said it reminded me of the movie Crash. Like they were coming in contact with each other and not realizing that they were going to end up all being connected by the end. All right.
How many doors do you think he had to go to when he was trying to find Sabrina? Remember his boy? Look at the packages.
Oh yeah. I can only imagine. Mike was on a mission. He was like, I got to find these people because he said, I saw them in the future, but it's like, okay, I don't know their names. I don't know where they live. If they work, I don't know where they work. I can only go off by their faces. Imagine you walking around the city all up looking at people's faces. Like
exactly. All he had was the first names and the date. That's it.
Like you would be looking crazy. All right. So the next person, and I think this is the last person of the core, is Andre. Shout out to Lamar from BMF, because I think this is the person that I think gravitated a lot of us to want to watch it because this was the more familiar face that we knew of if you watch BMF. But Lamar, he is a single father to a BS baby mama, but we're going to get to that one. And he works in a call center, or at least he did. And he's like between jobs. He's kind of struggling to make ends meet, but I like that everything that he's doing is for his son. Like he's far from a deadbeat dad. Everything he's doing, he's putting his son first while also struggling to keep his son out these streets, because that's another connection to the crazy character and his crew. And his ability is he has super strength, which works perfectly for him. Because I said, I bet you he's gonna be the one that has the strength. And when he punched that ATM and all that money came and all that money came out, they said free money.
That was crazy because they had shorted him his check, and I did like his character. I like the fact that he was trying to, be there for his son, like you said, and he just was trying to do the right thing and keep him from out the streets and take care of him. And so he was pissed off. He hit the damn thing, and all that money flew out. I was like, listen, I ain't mad at it. I've been picking up all that money.
Me too.
And he hit it so hard that he put a big crack right above the ATM, like
it went right up the wall.
Right up the wall. That's how hard, and he didn't even realize like that was his ability, was to have super strength, which I said works perfectly for his character. Now let's get on this trash baby mama of his. He's getting off work to go meet up with her and his son to go get his son, which by the way, I believe his son would prefer to be with him than her, just based off of body language and tone. And before she even gets into a whole conversation with him, she sticks out her hand. And I said, I hated that part. I said, no, this skank didn't.
But in her defense, though, he gave her 150 pounds for 3 months. Come on, man.
But I get it, but she literally was like, "Come on, we leaving." Like it's like you got your stuff for sale. I didn't like how she did that.
And like I said, it's not like he's a deadbeat. He's actually trying. Like there's some people out here that won't even do that. And it's not like she doesn't know what's going on with him because he works in this call center. I noticed he did the code switch thing when he was on the phone with a person I immediately picked that out. And then when he got called into the office, I was like, I think I know what this is, and I doubt it's for a promotion. Like this guy literally makes himself available to continue to make more money so he can take care of his son. That's really all that there is to it for Andre. Andre is a selfless person when it comes to his son. He's not doing this for himself. And so when he got that money,
he's the first person to sign up for the overtime.
Yeah. Like when they said the overtime board is up, just put your sticker right here. He was the first one to get up and put his sticker in the little square so he can do that overtime. And then what ended up happening like a few seconds later, Andre, you're fired. And the thing is, before the boss could even tell him he was fired, Andre already knew what was happening. He got his jacket, got his stuff, and walked out. The boss was probably still talking to the wall.
If I was Andre, I probably would have got a couple more ATMs though.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was surprised that he didn't do it. But it is what it is.
I mean, he said he didn't want to go back to jail. So he was smart in that sense.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Because he didn't want to go back to jail. He was already trying to redeem himself with his child's mother and all of that. So that's why she seemed like she didn't want to give him a second chance, but
and also
he seemed like he was trying to redeem himself.
And notice too, every time they used their powers, you notice there was a camera there in the city that was watching their every move. And I'm like, these aren't street cameras, these are surveillance, watching from that hub that's underground. It's like every time the powers activate, that camera activates so they can know and pinpoint where each person is and how to acquire.
Yeah, and then Andre, he was battling against crazy people the whole time because his damn son, AJ, out here, he kept telling him, hey, man, leave him alone.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to point out, man, you see the difference? When the bill collectors call here in the States, they just call. In the UK, they show up to the house. They taking what they need.
Oh, yeah, yep. They showed up to the house ready to collect on anything they could to equal out to the bills that you got to pay. And I thought it was dope that when his son came back, he was like, you know what? Here's the phone. Like, let me give the phone as collateral that you just bought me. And Andre was like, no, I just bought you that phone. He said, I spent like this amount of money on the phone. He's like, it doesn't matter. It's just the phone, but I want to make sure that you're stable so you can take care of me. I thought that was so dope. That was a good moment right there between the father and son, because you could tell Andre did not want him to do that. And he was like, it's just a phone. I can always get another phone. I don't want to see you out on the street because by you being out on the street, I'm out on the street. And then I got to deal with my mother, who's going to be even worse about this whole situation. And she might call CPS or something like that. So that was a great moment, a father-son moment right there.
Yeah, it was. I like the way that you pointed out earlier about the relationship and the body language, that he does seem like he'd rather be with his dad more than his mom.
And I'm glad they didn't do the cliche thing, because typically they'll always show the mother as the one in a good light and the father in the bad light. But in this one, they flipped it. Take notes, Tyler Perry.
And it's a dark-skinned man being a hero.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was going through a lot for AJ, man. The whole going to rob the trap house, when his friend came and told him about that, he was like, "Man, you go to the trap house with me. It's about 30,000."
And I like that. And I like that in this scene right here, and from this particular picture that I got up, this was the scene where Andre had went over and confronted Crazy's crew. And he looked like I was like, a part of me wanted him to go off because he started to activate. I wanted him to go off on them, but I'm glad he held back at the same time. But man, if there was a director's cut, they would have been flying all over the city.
But you know what? I think that was a foreshadowing moment, because when they come back next season and he see what his son is doing, he's about to really get at them this time.
Yeah, because his son is about to enter that underbelly.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did he see his son? Oh well, he came through the what's the name, the portal after everybody had ran, because his son was down there selling.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Andre doesn't know that Andre doesn't know that his son is now in the belly of the beast.
That's a good way of putting it.
Like he's starting to cross over, but I don't think his son is going to be there very long, though, to be quite honest with you.
Oh boy.
You all right, Muchi?
Yeah, I don't like to see people die. I'll be having my no Jesus no moments.
I know you were hurt when Dion could have went home, but instead she talked about, I know my date, and came down there, and it was an early date.
Right, exactly. All right, so that was Andre. So now we've gotten through the whole core cast. Now we're going to go through the supporting cast, which is basically the characters that are connected to each of the main characters. And the first person we're going to talk about is Dion. Now, Dion is the girlfriend turned fiance of Mike, who we talked about at the beginning. She is a social worker. First off, let me just say, with the exception of Rodney, all of them pretty much have careers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Taser, I forgot Taser. Taser doesn't have a career.
And Andre.
Well, Andre's between careers. I mean, he's being dealt a bad hand. The man is literally trying.
Right.
Like, actually went apply for another job, and they still didn't. They still sent him to go into space. So it's not like he's out here not trying to.
Right.
But Dion,
she's trying to redeem himself.
But Dion she's a social worker, and what I like about her character is that she genuinely loves Michael. Like, she is in love with this man. Like, every time you see them together, she's always smiling. She's always happy. She's always concerned about his well-being, even though sometimes it can come off very motherly. And I think it's because she is a social worker, so she sees what goes on with these kids. And then when it's like, we see what Michael's trying to do for her and trying to save her, but he's not telling her because he doesn't want to frighten her. Because, like, how can you really tell somebody, like, I'm trying to save you from dying? Like, how do you tell somebody that? Mm-hmm. So that's really her character. Of course, they live together, and she ends up becoming a intricate part when she goes to that restaurant, and she talks to those workers at that Jamaican restaurant, and she finds out that the girl, their daughter, is Yasmin, the healer. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to find out, okay, how do we find them? And she's and through her, she ends up finding out the location where the hub is at.
Right. The crazy thing was, I liked her character too. I like the fact that she was connected through being a social worker, and she's actually working with some of the missing people, like, because she was on the case for Taser's mom too. But the thing about it is, if her and Michael would have actually been talking more, because at one point he started telling her, like, leave it alone, don't investigate it anymore. And at the same time, he not supposed to be doing it, but he's still doing it behind her back. And had they actually sat down and talked, they would have been able to find a lot of the connections, because the people that was going missing was saying the same things that he's saying. Like, they trying to be normal and somebody came and took them, and it was something going on with them, something that changed, something that they couldn't explain. And so it was like, had they, been able to put all the information together and sit down and talk, they probably would have got somewhere a lot faster. But I like that part of it too, that everybody kind of had, different situations going on as far as economic, socially, things they was into. For Taser, it was his mom going missing, and then he had his grandmother. For Rodney, he had his situation with his mom. Andre had his son. Then Michael, he got his mother that got sickle cell, and then he got this relationship with somebody. I think they had met when they was like young kids, and he was trying to propose to her. They had their house, their car, so everything was going pretty good for them.
That's actually how it starts off too, with the car.
Yeah,
that's literally how it. That's literally one of the first things we see after. When we didn't know it was Taser's mom, but when the next scene is Michael getting that car, and she's like, and I like how they played that too, because they played it like he was trying to flirt with her, like they didn't know each other, but it turns out they were actually together. So I like how they did that dynamic. It was it was something else there too. I thought what was so funny was when Michael and Dion had got back to their apartment, and I think this was after he proposed, and they was about to get it in, and then Michael's powers activated, and he teleported, and that's when he went to the future.
Yes,
that was the first time.
Yeah, that was the first time when his eyes changed. She was like, "What the hell?" Did he just
she was like, "Michael, what's going on, Michael?"
He was really excited. The whole engagement thing. Yeah, all of those emotions and
I think the car for Dion, I think the reason they showed us that was when they go into back into the future or back to the past, they can't get the car because it started with them in the car and then she died in the car.
Yeah.
So the car, they probably have to, when they go back, he's not going to remember. She said, "Why'd you get the car? We can't get the car. We just got the house."
Yeah. And so like that was the first time he goes into the future, and then that's when he sees what's going on, and he sees his future self talk, and his future self talks to his present self, and then that's when he gets taken to the grave where she's at, and he sees on there her birth date and her death date, and then that's when he comes back to the present, and she's freaking out. I'm sure anybody would. She was like, "You were just here, and then you just left."
Right.
I said, well, that evening is done, because in his mind, all he can think about is, damn, my fiance who I just proposed to is going to die soon. Now I got to worry about trying to save her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that plays on your mental, because it's like, after that proposal, that's the next big step, of course, before getting to the wedding and being married. And now he can't even focus on that, because in his mind, he has to save the woman he plans on marrying.
Exactly. Yeah. And to me, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I would say he said he only had 60 days too with that. So it was like time was ticking. So it's like he hit the ground running as soon as he came back to the present time.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting too that his future self said, "Oh, like you was able to come to the future. I wasn't able to do that. So when I was at the point you was at, so it was basically like, oh, well, maybe you could prevent this from happening. You need to go and get, these people. It have to be all 5 of y'all." So he was already kind of ahead of the game in the past, though.
Like I said, that's a lot. That's a lot on somebody's plate.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask y'all this question: is that the one that was talking to him in the future? Is that the one that was at the end?
No. That was the present one. The future one has the future one has like a beard, and he has locks.
Yeah.
So the one you saw at the end. So the one you saw at the end, that was the current present day Mike.
Yeah, I got a theory about that. I don't know if it's gonna be right, but I was just wait.
That's what I think it's gonna be more than one version of him.
Yes,
I really do. That's my prediction.
And I don't usually have theories, but I was like, wait a minute.
This is a first for you, Tamika.
So wait a minute. Are you saying they're gonna try to do the whole multiverse thing?
I
think
so.
Yeah,
if they
because
go
he
in the
changed
past,
the timeline. He changed what happened. She died before she was supposed to.
and that's why Spud kept talking about the butterfly effect. If you change one thing, it's going to change the future.
Exactly.
So when he goes in the past, well, he got to go in the future to get the information. But when he goes back to try to change this, he's going to have to meet his past self and basically tell him this is what's going to happen.
So I think it is going to be 3 versions of them, y'all. I'm just,
maybe a timeline that he go back to that Dion is still alive.
That I don't see her. I think we're gonna see her again. I already feel that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to put that out there though.
Right. Yeah. At this point, he's just trying to go and see who was all behind this, how it all started. But I think he's gonna find more than that. Yeah.
Put a pin in that.
Because that's why he said he was going. Remember at the end when they were all at the club, he told him, "I'm gonna go into the future and I'm gonna find out everything so we can come back and change. Well, stop everybody that did all of this to us. So they're gonna have to go to the past and try to change everything."
Right. Cool. All right. So that was Dion. Next up, we have Charlene. Okay, Charlene is, like we mentioned before, the sister to Sabrina. They live together. Charlene is more like the party girl. Like she's kind of out there. You can tell that. I'm not going to say she's immature, but she on the mature scale, Sabrina definitely is ranking way higher than her. But she also is exes or situationships with Crazy, who is the main antagonist of this season. And I thought that was very interesting too, because the scene that she let him in the house, they smash, and then she finds out he's going to see some other girl, and she gets upset. What did she grab? Was it a knife? Was it a knife?
She got the knife
because he had choked her. And he almost choked her to death. He had a strong hold on her.
Yeah.
And when the next time we see her, she gets up from that floor, she goes in that kitchen and gets that butcher knife, and that's the last time we see her for a little bit. And she closed the door. I'm like, he drove off. What you gonna do? Run down the street like a mad woman with this big knife, like no one gonna go see you? But also before that, remember what happened at the club. She was at the club. Her and Sabrina had went out to the club, and then Charlene had met up with this guy, and they ended up, kind of almost doing their thing. They go out to the back, and then he tries to force himself on her. She says no, and then all of a sudden, we see his eyes start to glow. I was like, hold on, and and that's when I was like, wait a minute, who was this guy? I said, and he's not part of the group. And then all of a sudden, Sabrina comes out. She does her thing. She grabs Charlene and they start running down the alley. And then all of a sudden, this guy starts flying. So his ability was to fly. Sabrina looks back, uses her power, and knocks him to the side so hard he broke his neck.
So that guy, he went viral. Like he's like an influencer or something. That's how I knew who he was. But but he didn't die though. Remember when she came back and there was no report of it? So
nothing. Yeah.
But wait a minute. But wait a minute. Didn't they say when they saw on the screen, because when that scene ended, it went to the part where the hub was and said deceased.
Yeah, it did show. So I guess they came and cleaned it up, because when she came, there was no evidence that anything even happened. Yeah, because it did say deceased on the screen, and then they pretty much had her picture and was thinking she was the one that did this and that she had the power. So can I ask y'all, because they got her, they was thinking it was her. Do y'all think something gonna turn up with her? Because it could be in her genes too. It may not just have showed up yet.
Yeah, because they ended up kidnapping Charlene, thinking that it was Sabrina. So they just took her, and now they're holding her in the cell. And
she next to the healer.
Yeah,
she was next to the little girl, because when they went past, you seen her in there. But you know what I was going to ask y'all about this though? With them two and him coming back. At first, I thought they was gonna all be together because he was talking to Taser, and he was brought back to life because he said it when they took him back that last time. He thought that they was gonna do it again.
Oh, okay, cool. And like somebody in the chat said,
put my track shoes on. My bad.
Like someone said in the chat, say he's still alive. Okay, well, we shall see, because Sabrina had his neck pop like a Pez dispenser.
I don't know, but I heard the pow in his. Well, the other guy, I don't know about him. The first guy that took her outside when they was at the club. I don't know if he's still alive, but I think the other one, the one that was trying to get Taser. The last
you mean
one that
Crazy?
Crazy, yeah. He was
Crazy.
brought back to life before.
Yeah,
because he said it when he was in that room.
But they did take him out, but we don't know if they're gonna bring him back again. That lady Victoria seemed like she was over it with him.
I was on to her since she first came on the screen.
Yeah,
I was looking at her. I said something about this woman seems real shady. And when I saw what popped up at the end, I said I knew it. And she's running the whole operation.
When she showed up, I believe it was talking to his mother about the sickle cell and was smiling. I was like, yeah, nah. And then we got this special program, this place you could go to.
And that, I said you can keep that brochure.
Yeah.
Mo, was you ready to say something?
No, I was just saying that. Oh yeah. The guy that they killed outside the club. I wonder what was he doing, because we know what Crazy Job was to gather everybody. He was just walking around. I mean, he worked for him, but he wasn't really looking for anybody with powers. He was just drinking and wilding out.
Yeah, I think that he was probably trying to flex. He was like, I got these powers, like no one's gonna stop me. Because the thing is, a lot of them, before they come together, probably think they are the only ones with those abilities until they realize I'm not alone out here. There's others out there just like me. I said, oh, it's a lot of y'all like that out there. And some of y'all are being held in that containment. Y'all just don't know it yet.
Yeah, and the crazy thing was them keep telling them that they was gonna, make them normal and then they could go back home. And when Victoria first showed up and was talking to Michael, it was like, oh, do you have sickle cell too? Do you have the trait? And then I was just like, yeah, okay, lady.
One thing I forgot to mention, going back to Andre, because I forgot to mention it. Andre did get captured.
Yes,
he did get captured by those hooded figures, what we're going to talk about soon. And he got taken through the portal, and he actually was down in the hub, and he was injured. Like, he had lashes on his back, and then that's when they brought Yasmin, the healer, in, and she healed him so they could question him. And then you had that guy speaking to him. And I said, that actor looks so familiar, and I realized where I saw him from. He was in Deadpool 2, and he was a snake in that movie too. So I guess playing a snake is just in his resume. But
he plays a snake a lot. Yeah, because Andre was actually supposed to meet up with Michael and Rodney at that point. They were starting to be like, because first he was trying to get Rodney help, and Rodney wasn't paying him no mind. But then he finally was like, all right, yeah, now that my friend got beat.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's when they were trying to corrupt Rodney, basically saying, oh, this is a good paying job. We know your situation with your son and everything. Like I said, they have them under surveillance, so they know everything about them from top to bottom and everywhere in between.
Yeah.
He was also in Ray Donovan too.
Yes.
Okay. Did he play the same kind of character?
He played Ray Donovan's brother, the one with Parkinson's, the boxer. Yeah.
All right. So that was Charlene's character. The next person we're going to talk about is Gabriel. So Gabriel is Mike's friend. He owns the bar. And what I liked about Gabriel's character is that he's like the typical friend that if you tell him some stuff like that, he's not going to believe it. He's going to think you're crazy. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You about to sit up here and tell me that you got these glowy eyes, you can do all of this and all of that. You saying your girlfriend is about to die. And it's like, huh? Like, what are you telling me? And I would have the same reaction, because it's like you're dumping all of this on me at one time. Like, I can't even register past the first thing you just told me.
Yeah, I thought the reactions was pretty realistic, how you would react. And then it was funny too, because at some points it's like, if you get powers, what would you be doing? And on the one hand, you're gonna be trying to get what you could get for yourself, shoot. But then on the other hand is that side, like, okay, so are you gonna help other people and all of that? But then it was funny because he was like, okay, so if you could do it, close your eyes, do it again, concentrate. And he waiting. I was cracking up.
Yeah, but I think Gabriel was like a dope character, and as the fact of having Michael as a friend. And I said he's definitely going to have him by his side now, knowing what he can do. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely keep him on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Muchi,
See, it'd be hard not to do some like the boys type stuff, knowing that people have these powers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially with like how Rodney was selling the drugs. Man, I don't know, man. It'd be too tempting. I'm not trying to save nobody. I'm just trying to enjoy.
Yeah, you just want to do what you want to do for you. Shoot.
I mean, if it happens and I'm around, I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm not gonna go out there and seek it.
Mhm.
Like, if I happen to be, look, hey, you know, I'm messing with this ATM machine and I see some old lady get mugged, yeah, I'm gonna handle my business.
Yeah. Right.
I did like
Okay.
Gabriel's reaction when he popped up, when he finally was able to harness being able to teleport, and he popped up at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kept
and the reactions
on
are
each side of the bar.
and the reactions were genuine, like, whoa, like, how did you do that? Like, what did you just do? So I like that they did that. I can imagine, I bet they had a load of fun filming this. I bet that set was fun to work on every single day. Because one thing I always do is after I watch a new show or a movie, I go and watch the cast interviews, and that's exactly what I did with them.
Yeah.
And they said they said that last scene that we see, that last big fight that they have, they said they shot that at like 3 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah. They shot that at like 3 a.m, and they said it was wet and damp because it was raining or just finished raining. So that moisture on the ground, that wasn't something they sprayed. That was from a rainy day they just had. And they just added into the effect to make, to add the additional effect of the scene. But yeah, that's what I like doing after I watch shows, and to get more insight of behind the scenes stuff, from the actors and the director and the crew's perspective about a show or movie that I'm watching. So that was Gabriel's character. Next, we got Spud. So Spud, no, you haven't already.
I like Spud, man. I like Spud more than Rodney.
So, okay, Spud is Rodney's friend. He's basically out there helping him sell the drugs. Basically, Spud is like a big connect. Like Spud, you know what it reminded me of? Well, I was going to say Braden, but Braden could not do it. Braden could not do it. Spud is a more street savvy version of Braden. Braden is more suburban. But Spud is more well connected. He'd be helping Rodney get these sales the best that he can. And then unfortunately, Spud ended up getting caught by Crazy's crew, and they beat the shit out of him. They almost killed him. I thought Spud was done out here when they captured him. I thought he was up out of here.
Spud knew he couldn't get that product there in 5 minutes, man. The whole reason we started this was because of Rodney.
I don't even know why he answered, but I did like Spud, and I felt like he kept it real with Rodney. He kept him grounded, and he also knew about superheroes, so he kept doing the comparisons and bringing it up. He was more like wanting to help when Mike first showed up than Rodney was.
Exactly. Yeah, I forgot. That interaction that him and Mike had when they first met at the restaurant when Rodney was there.
I like the fact that he was bringing up the Avengers.
Yeah,
because he was like, if you all get together, you form the Avengers.
Like the Avengers. Yeah. So that's like they said, okay, they was like Marvel. We kind of mentioning you without saying Marvel. We mentioned one of your biggest properties.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad that Spud he's still here. He's still alive because it was looking crazy. Oh, that whole scene was one of my favorite scenes in the show, was when they captured Spud and they was beating them, and they all came, because that was the first time they all came together for the first time, and they were all using their powers. That's when I was talking about how Crazy is like the link. So you had Spud that was there. Rodney came looking for Spud. He finds out Spud is with Crazy. Then he goes over there to see them. Charlene and Sabrina go to see Crazy because Crazy put his hands on Charlene. And then Mike is trying to find, whoever. And then Andre's going over there to get a safe that unfortunately there was nothing in. And now they're all together in this one location. And it's like a whole bunch of chaos going on at one time in that scene.
Because the Taser and them got to shooting.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was the scene right there where they all came together for the first time. They don't know who any of them. Well, Mike knows who they are because he saw them in the future, and he was like, "Realize you're who you say you are, and all this other stuff like that." So, okay, Muchi, I got you. And now it's like, okay, now I realize I'm not the only one like that. You got these glowing eyes, and you got these powers. Okay, now where do we go from here?
Exactly.
I like how they showed everyone's power at the beginning of the episode where Taser shot the gun and then Andre used his strength. I liked how they did that.
Yeah, like they were kind of bouncing off. I said, see, this is the beginning right here. So imagine what it's going to be like when they're together.
Exactly.
And they learn how, first off, to learn how to hone their individual powers, but then learn how to work together as a group. Oh, they're going to be unstoppable. And then as time goes on, they might end up adding additional people to the group and expanding. Because while it's good that they have 5 now, I think they're going to need an army because those hooded figures are going to keep coming. Like it's like they have an endless supply of them. So they're going to need eventually, in my opinion, more than 5.
Well, we see how they got them, so we know that that he's hiring people to go after other people. He's taking people out of their situation. So those cameras that you spoke about earlier, how they looking at everybody, there is going to be more people they're going to recruit to come after them.
I think and they gotta get in that facility and get them pulled out of them cages too.
Yeah, I'm sure this is probably like all around the world. That's probably just one facility that they have.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they expanded and they started to find others like them in other countries and on other continents? Oh. Now, if they want, this is just a suggestion. They don't even have to do it. They can still keep it UK based. But let the show go on for a couple of seasons and when the series gets ready to come to an end, wrap it up with a whole globe of those individuals coming together to fight one big like entity. So like what they was again like with the Avengers when they had to come together again in Endgame and fight Thanos and doing something like that. But that's just me thinking, ahead. That's me like
I would love to see something like that. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah,
and since it's called Supacell, there's probably like smaller cells that already is like 2 or 3 people that know each other that are doing like little stuff in their own individual areas.
Got their own little enclaves. All right, so that was Spud. So the next person we're going to go Crazy. I mean, we already talked about him so many times, and he definitely lived up to the name of Crazy. Now, Crazy is in this season the main antagonist of the show. He's the leader of this gang. He's the one that popped Tiny in the back after one of his crew got beat by a Taser when they thought that Taser wasn't going to really do nothing, but Taser was giving them hands. He was giving them that work. And then as time goes on, we find out that Crazy has powers himself. We find out like what in the last or second to last episode of the season, and we find out that his ability is power absorption. So if he touches someone or if someone touches him, he can use their abilities. That's why I say he kind of reminds me of Rogue from X-Men. But the thing is, he doesn't have to touch their skin like her. He can just touch their physical body. They can have clothes on, whatever it is, and boom. Because I thought it was, I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was dope when he just went around and just touched the individual characters and just started using their powers at will. Like he just said, let me touch you, let me use your power. So that's basically his ability. And the thing is, if he gets certain abilities, then it's gonna be a problem, just like when Rodney had touched him.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting when they brought that part in because I didn't see that coming. I felt like he was bad enough without that going powers. He was a problem.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, yeah, because when he was doing it, because at first when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, he's just going around touching them. I'm like, oh, he can use their powers. That's his. And when you think about it, that's a dope ability to have.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can become unstoppable with that if you touch enough people. It's like, but I wonder how long he can use their powers because it doesn't sound like he can use them for too long. It sounds temporary, especially with what he did when he touched Rodney. Because when he touched Rodney, he was going around slicing their throats, cutting them up. When he got the taser, when he got the taser, he could tell he felt the type of way because he was straight jabbing taser.
Yeah,
he was like, I was in here screaming when that boy happened. I was
like literally,
yeah. He was going in. He probably stabbed him like 1,000 times.
Right?
Yo, it was like so fast you couldn't even. All you saw was the arm just moving. I was like,
yes,
and then when that happened, luckily he didn't kill Mike all the way. Because Mike just let out this loud yell, and they went right back to before it happened, and then it went right to the point where Rodney said, "Okay, I'm gonna go and go up to him," and then Mike was like, "No, don't," and then that's when he froze time.
Yeah, that was hot.
And then that whole scene was. I don't want to go too much into that scene because I actually have the picture for that scene, and we can just talk about that scene. So that's pretty much crazy. Now the next thing is these hood. I'm gonna be honest. If that was first off, if a portal was just to open up, I'm thinking. You know what this reminded me of? Terminator.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it was a combination between that and the superhero movies.
Yeah, I thought of the Terminator because when it first happens, you see a little spark of lightning, and I was like, okay, this reminds me of Terminator. And when it opened up, I was like, is the T-800 or the T-1000 about to pop up right now? So these are the hood figures. We first see them in the first episode where Mike goes into the future, and these are like the other little, I guess you can say, side antagonist characters. We don't know, and when we first see them, we don't know who they are or where they come from, but we just know they have powers too. Because one of them was like a flamethrower, like he could throw fire. I forgot it was another one that could do something else, but we don't know them, so we don't see their faces. They just always look like this. But then as time goes on, we find out that these were recruits at that facility that they brainwashed to go and collect others like them so they can build their army. This is what happened with Andre when he got snatched up and that guy was telling him, "Oh, I'll pay you well," and all this and the third, because he, for a slight second, was dressed just like that because he was brainwashed, and he was about to go ahead with the plan too because he was ready to take them back through that portal. But remember, Andre's a selfless person, and he was doing it for his son. He wasn't doing it for himself, not realizing that he wasn't doing a good thing.
Yeah, he believed what they told him, so I'm sure there's a lot of them that believe it. And at the end of the day, they just want to get out of there too. I'm sure they making all different kind of promises to them, so they like, all right, we're gonna get out here and get them. But we ain't know all that part. So when they first was coming out at them like that, I was yelling like, "Oh God, get out of here! Do what you gotta do."
Exactly.
Do y'all think the son gonna get powers?
He might. It's a possibility.
I'm thinking about it because it's like
if it's hereditary on his dad's side, I can see him having the trait. Then
yeah.
I'm excited for next season already.
Yeah, I am too.
Exactly. So those are those figures right there. We see them we actually see them a few times. The first episode we see him again when they capture Andre. And then we see him again at the end for that big fight that they have at the end, which actually leads me in. This is actually the first fight right here. Because you can see Andre, he's not there with them. This is the first time right here. And man, they were so shocked with Sabrina. They was like really completely like thrown off by her ability when she used her telekinesis. Because they was like, they kind of, knew what the others were. They kind of don't really know all of Michael's powers, but when they saw her use her telekinetic ability,
Sabrina's a problem too.
Like when she really develops, she's going to be a problem because remember in the future she can fly, but right now she doesn't know that she can. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting going forward. But this is the first encounter that they have with those individuals coming through the portal. Of course, with this one they weren't as successful. Well, they weren't successful. But that's how it works. That's how it goes when you have that first big fight. And you can see Taser, he's injured. You can tell by the way he's like kind of hunched over. And Sabrina right there front and center, like she was like I just realized something. They said, they doing their superhero pose.
Man, if that's Mike's superhero pose, that's nasty.
Well, I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. Sabrina's in kind of her stance. Rodney's in his because he's a speedster, so he's always looking like he's about to
looking
run.
ready to run. Yeah.
And Taser not so much because he's hurt. Like he got hurt. And the thing about this scene right here, remember, Taser has the ability to turn invisible, but one of those figures had like that heat sensor, so he could see
all of them do. With that mask, everyone that has the hood on, if you got the mask on, then you can see them. Because remember, they started breaking them. They started breaking them so they couldn't see them.
Right. And with that, that's how they were able to see Taser. He thought he was invisible. He was like, how are they able to see me? And then that's when they figured out later on that, like Mo said, they have those goggles on so they can be able to see him.
But Taser still looked like he ready to juke somebody.
Oh yeah, he was gonna do it. So he
Taser was on demon time for real. He's an injured or not. I'ma still use this, and he always had that knife in his hand. The only time he didn't have that knife was at the end when he got jabbed up by Crazy, and Crazy.
And the first time he got taken care of, I think that's what made him start carrying it from after that party.
Exactly. So, let me stick right here and talk about that last fight scene, right? That last fight, even though I don't have the picture up, because the last one is the last clip of the season. When they were using their abilities, the hooded figures was using their abilities. Remember, one of them threw Sabrina up against the wall and was like, you had all that wind. And it was literally she couldn't breathe. Like it was almost like being up in the air and you have like no oxygen. That's literally what was happening to her. That was after she killed wasn't that the person's sister? It was a sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sabrina had knocked them into something, and I think they got impaled or something like that. And they died. I mean, they went there with even some of the deaths. Like they were like they didn't they were showing them. So for people who haven't watched the show, these kills that be happening don't be happening off screen. Like they show it all. Like they be going in. But I like that last fight scene. I said, okay, they got their little first family fight scene together. I said, and the thing is, that's them with their when they still are developing their powers. So imagine what it's going to be like when they are really locked in and they really know what to do.
Yeah, because Mike was like stopping the bullets in the air, like, and he didn't even realize what he was doing. Like that time when they came out, he got messed up a couple times. There was another time when he got stabbed up, and then that's when it replayed, and he went back, and it was like that's how he kind of already knew Taser, because Taser was standing off, and it was like, well, wait a minute, what just happened? Kind of like you feel like you had deja vu. Did that really just happen? But when he came back with the bullet, I was like, okay.
Yeah, and also, you gonna say something, Mo?
No, I was gonna say that was cool how he popped up in the room with the bullet in his hand.
Yeah, exactly. That was dope. But also something unfortunate did happen in that last scene. Well, first off, after Crazy had sliced and diced them up, and Mike went back in time briefly to undo that, it wasn't enough because what he did was he stopped time, and then he went and he thought he killed Crazy, but Crazy was still alive, got the gun and fired off and ended up going through the windshield where Dion was at because she was there with them. It went through the windshield and shot her right in the neck, taking her out before her death date. So, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying about he did all of that and it still didn't matter.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting taken out before time.
And that's why she should have left. He told her to get in the car and leave. I was so pissed. Like, why are you still saying
That's what I was saying. I was saying she needed to leave when they were standing in front of that building all that time. I was like, why are they standing there?
Exactly.
Like, how long they stood there?
Because remember, the whole Spud was the one that talked about the butterfly effect. So when Mike heard that, he was trying to explain to her, but she cut him off when he was talking about the butterfly effect. Because remember, before they went down there, she said, "Oh well, we know our date, so I'm good to go down there." But everything got changed.
Exactly. Yeah. And all you saw was her crawling out of the car, bleeding out of the neck, and I was like, Dion, she's out of here unless y'all theory comes true and they find a way to bring her back. But it might be an alternate version of her.
Yeah,
so
I think
she won't be the same. Yeah,
right.
She won't be the same, but it depends on what version they bring back of her. Because he's saying he want to go back to the beginning. So is he gonna go back where he first meet her too? Because remember they was dating. They mentioned all of that stuff. I didn't even take notes. Imagine if I would have took notes, I would have had more. But if they would have when they took it back to the beginning, they were saying that how long they was dating and when they met and stuff like that. So I wonder how far back is he going to go to? He went ahead, but is he going to go back even further?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you also wonder how far back he can go.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
that's the whole
let
thing.
the story keep going. Yeah, if they go back to right when it started, and it's like, okay, that wasn't far enough back. They play it through. Like, then we got to go back even further. So I mean, that gives you a whole nother season out of that.
Yeah,
I thought she was gonna get deleted. I thought she was gonna get deleted when crazy people was in that car by that building too.
Yeah, but one thing you got to also understand too is when it comes to time, you got to be very careful when you're doing that time traveling thing because you don't want to alter a timeline up because that can mess the future
exactly.
So,
and me and Booby always arguing about that. He like, that's in the movies. I said, well, listen, that's all we got to go by. Anytime you change something, you mess something up, you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's why I said you got to be careful when you're doing that. I said time travel might be fun and all, but when you like, say for example, I was to go back to the 70s, I have to make sure that first off that I don't come across my parents in the 70s, because that could alter me not being born. In the year I was born. Think kind of, reminds you of Back to the Future. That's a perfect example right there is Back to the Future. That's the thing when it comes to time travel is you have to make sure that you remain incognito. Like you can go and basically window shop, but don't go in the store and try to buy. That's basically, I guess that's the best way that I can put it, is to be careful when it comes to that time travel thing. So you have all of that happened. Go ahead, Mo. You going to say something?
I was going to say, like, let's be real. With Dion not leaving and going home, when she was down there and she watched all these powers, people opening up portals, teleporting, disappearing, throwing fireballs. What did she think she was about to do to Crazy when he picked Taser up one hand and she grabbed her leg? What did you think you was going to do?
Exactly. She was like, leave him alone.
She needed to put that beamer in reverse and get the heck out of there, yo.
Yeah,
I was like, why is she leaving?
Yeah, that was unfortunately, as much as I liked her character, that was her fatal flaw. Unfortunately, it was a fatal flaw that she didn't leave.
She got in the car and she drove towards the action. She could have just turned around because when she drove towards it, that's when Taser fell on the roof.
Yeah,
I don't know what she was thinking.
yeah. Now that I look back at it and think, she should have definitely left. But that was just it was bound to happen. So we have all of that occurs now. Dion is unfortunately deceased for now because we have these theories that she might come back, but as an alternate version of herself. And then we have this scene right here, which is the last scene of the season, where they're all standing together in this room, and you have Michael front and center, and he looks like he's about to go do something. We don't know where he's going, but he basically teleports out of there, but we don't know if he's going to the past or if he's going to the future. We already saw that he can go into the past, even if it was like slightly, but we know he can go into the future, which he went way into the future just based on how, everything around them looked and how they looked. So we have that going on, and then it cuts off. It ends. I like how they put the camera on their faces and all their eyes glowed.
Yeah,
I like
how they did, because it showed right there that now it looks like they probably been working together. So now they are starting to hone their abilities, start to slightly be in control with it as well. And then of course you have the post credit. I said, oh, y'all got that from Marvel too. And they go back, and I said, y'all go back, and they go back to the facility, and you see Crazy is laid up on the thing, so we know Crazy is not dead. And he's laid up on the table, and the guy comes in there and he talks to him, and he was like, so on and so on. He said, but at the end of the day, you didn't get the job done. So I mean, We can't send you back out there. So you're a liability. You're no longer an asset. And it walks off and you hear 2 pops and he's yelling. Now, we all say if it's an off-screen death, it doesn't mean that the person is gone. So Crazy may not actually be dead. He could pop up in the next season. But right now, it's just a question mark over whether he's alive or dead. And then in comes that white woman who I said was shaky from the beginning. When I first saw her, I said, I knew it. She's the head of the operation. So she's even over that guy.
Yeah.
And then they get into the elevator. She says, I wouldn't, in so many words, I'm just paraphrasing, I wouldn't get too comfortable because you too did not hold up your end of the bargain. The look on his face.
Right. Like now I gotta step in and do it the correct way.
She said, now I'm gonna have to step in and do it my way. That man looked like he was about to shit a brick.
Yeah.
The look on his face was priceless. He was so scared.
Because she was like, I got you out of prison and you still didn't deliver. I just want to see if they do bring him back though.
Yeah, I don't think she's.
And it's crazy because even when he showed up in the neighborhood, everybody kind of was like, "What the heck is he doing here? How did he get out? He was supposed to be in jail for I forgot what they said, 35 years or whatever it was. Like he ain't supposed to been out no time soon." So they was kind of probably thinking he snitched on somebody to get out, but no, he was in this program.
Yep, but he like she has him on a leash. The last thing he wanted her to do was be in that facility because really, I like how they gave her cover because she was out in the field, quote unquote. She was the one going out handing out the pamphlets and talking to the people, but she's really the head honcho. Like she's the one that they report to. And this is the first time we see her in the actual facility. And now she says, I'm gonna have to come and do it myself, which also reminds me again of Thanos too, because in one of the end credit scenes for one of those Marvel movies, he walks in, he sees the Infinity Gauntlet, he says, look like I'm gonna have to do it myself.
Yeah.
So that kind of reminded me. So I see where they pull things from, different comic book movies and references to put into the show. If you don't watch those movies, you probably wouldn't catch it. But yeah.
And I feel like they was doing experiments on the people. I don't know what they hope to get out of it, but I feel like they was doing experiments on the sickle cell patients that was in the supposed special center because when his mother went into crisis all of a sudden, and he was like, my mom haven't had a crisis in a real long time, and he was trying to get it under control, and they put him out the room. Something about that, I was like, we don't know if they was taking something from her, putting something in her. I wouldn't put it past.
I think they did take I think they took blood from her.
Yeah, that part when Mike's mother was seizing, that was hard to watch. Yeah, like in this, like so they definitely have to do their research to see, okay, what is a person who's having a moment or a spasm like who has sickle cell? Because I'm gonna be honest, the first time I ever heard of sickle cell anemia was with T-Boz from TLC because she has it, and I remember like watching Behind the Music back in the day. And that's when she mentioned it, and that's why they said sometimes they would have to cancel shows because she would have an episode and she couldn't perform like back in the day. So that's how I found out that she had it, and that's how I actually found out about it. And I guess with me having the trait, and Tamika saying you have the trait. Muchi, do you have it? The trait?
No, I don't.
Oh, damn! Tamika looks like
we on our own. I've actually been like, my sister was born with the disease. Me and all my siblings had the trait. She ended up the baby of the family, got the disease. So all our life we've been back and forth at the hospital with her. She used to get bad crisis. So yeah, I've been like writing papers, researching sickle cell for the longest time. That's why I was like, wait a minute, hold up. We talking about sickle cell? It definitely piqued my interest, and I want to see which way they was gonna go with it because it ain't no joke. And a lot of times, now we've come so much further with medicine. But back then, when my mom first had my sister, they was like, don't expect her to live past 21. That's what they used to say.
Wow. Yeah, they said that in the VH1 thing too with T-Boz. They were saying she wasn't gonna have a long life.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned about it, like, because she really kind of educated people on the disease. At that time on the illness, so she educated people on the illness and how they go through it.
Yeah.
So this was definitely a different spin. I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, I like that they did it and they didn't do the cliche thing because they're gonna eat it. When it comes to shows like this, it's always easier to do the cliche thing. So I'm glad that they incorporated saying if you have the trait, then you have an ability. So I thought that was very interesting too. But that's going to pretty much end. But before we actually bring it to a close, I'm going to go down the line because remember I said I was going to ask y'all at the end because I asked y'all one question at the beginning and it was the one I was going to ask y'all at the end. So I'm going to start with you, Muchi. Should this show get a season 2?
Heck yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready to see a season 2. I would love to see a season 2. I want to see where this goes. I like the fact that y'all talked about them making it worldwide. That would be hot if they do that when they. I hope it goes really far.
Yeah, Mo.
Yeah, I definitely want to see a season 2 of this. You can't end like that. You can't end with us trying to figure out what the hell's happening next. So yeah, I want to see it.
Tamika.
Absolutely. Netflix better stop playing. Y'all know Netflix be canceling some shows. I'm gonna be mad. We gotta have our foot on their neck.
Oh, yeah, right.
They better. Especially how it ended. They got to.
Oh yeah, this ended on a serious cliffhanger. The main part where this ended right here was a cliffhanger, and the post credit was a cliffhanger too. So definitely, and I say this too, and I agree with y'all. Bring back with the season 2, but also make it a longer season. 6 episodes.
Yeah,
that's too little.
6 episodes just wasn't enough. That was my only con for the show, was that it was too short. But I say give them, see if you can give them an extra 4, give them 10. You know, I think this show definitely deserves it. I think the ratings were definitely there. The audience is there, and the audience can only grow bigger. But with that being said, we are about to bring this to a close. But before I do that, let me go ahead and acknowledge, of course, my guests for coming up. Shout out to Muchi, MoedotJ, and Tamika for coming up. I definitely greatly appreciate each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to come up and speak or talk about this show. I'm glad I was able to do it because I have, I'm over there with y'all, but I don't think I've done it like this yet. And so this is like my first time doing it like in this format. So I'm glad I was able to do this. And I left the link to all of their channels down in the description. So make sure y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button, especially if y'all watch shows like BMF or Power Book 2 Ghost or any of the Power spinoffs for that matter, or House of the Dragon, because all 3 of them, well, myself included, watches those shows. but they are the ones that do the commentaries on, and those who subscribe to me know that I don't do the commentaries like that, but they all do commentaries on all 3 of those shows and then some. So definitely check that out. But Muchi, what I'm gonna treat it like y'all do it. What you got coming up on your channel?
What I got going on tonight at 1:15, Power Book 2. We're gonna do the first reaction. We're gonna talk about it. This is just right after coming off of watching it at midnight. So come and enjoy and get together with us tonight. It's going to be myself as well as Tamika, EJ the TV Junkie, and come join us, and Inga. So come join us tonight. Well, actually tomorrow, come holler at your girl.
Tamika, what you got coming up?
Yeah, usually I'm rocking with the ladies. You be seeing me and Muchi. I'll be going from, the boogie down to Queens. And so Saturday, I'll do my self-care Saturday. I'm going to be talking about some things that's awareness, for July. And then what you should be watching, telling y'all stuff that's coming out for July.
Oh, yeah, Tamika, am I coming back?
Yes.
I like doing those. I really do. All right, MoedotJ, what you got coming up?
I was gonna try to get up and do the first reaction for Ghost, but it's about to be 2 a.m. So I'm about to go finish packing, lay down. I'll be in Greece this weekend, so I'm gonna try to do a couple of lives. But if not, man, I'll be back Sunday.
Nice.
Enjoy your time.
Enjoy yourself.
All right, y'all. I'll be doing my premiere video tomorrow at 11 a.m. I probably won't be going live tomorrow like I usually do. I'm gonna save that live for Saturday as a midday live. So that's pretty much what I got going on. But with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe and be one.